Well, hello there, sports fan. Welcome to this week's edition of Red Raid Welding and Machining. Been kind of a busy week. Look there. Old baby girl, hood back down on her. Got her all fixed up. Got that new power steering pump on there. Very little leaking under there now, so we got all that there fixed up. I hope. I've been driving around here a few days getting ready to go to Arkansas. I ain't like all these other folk now. I got to test drive that son, gonna make sure my confidence up in it before I make that trip. But anyway, we got that there done. I fixed a drive shaft for an outboard motor. The old boy had somebody done called themselves fixing it once before, but they didn't do a real sporty job of it. I hope I did a little better job than that. Fixed a PTO shaft for my buddy Danny. And done a little practice welding, because I don't want to get out there to Arkansas and look like Willie Lump just bought a welding machine, you know what I mean? Because I really hadn't done that kind of welding in a long time. So maybe next week we'll go ahead and make a few butt welds and stuff, kind of get warmed up before we go out there for that show. But anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed this week's episode. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe. See you in a little bit. We done got that bad boy there fixed. Put that light on there, maybe that'll help some, shine a little bit more light on there. All right, we got a new power steering pump on there. Got everything tight. Got a new bracket back here made and on there. The problem we had with hooking our line up is the on the back of the pump where that line connects, that thing right there, you can see in there, it made a little different than the one that was there for a different line. So what I did, went back to the parts house, took the one out of the return, the cord that I sent back, and took it out. So I got to take this and put it back in there. But then my line hooked up. I got my new bolt, got everything on there, got everything tight and right. We're going to sit down and I believe we're going to ride in there today. I'm fixing to back out and kind of clean up this old shop floor a little bit. But I hope, Lord willing, the creek don't rise. We don't have to fool with that anymore. So, because then our next project is that shaft right there. You can tell somebody, the last guy just welded on top of it. And what I did with the other piece, oh, there's the other piece of it here. So I'm gonna clean that up, drill the center out like I always do. We'll have to TIG that up. Probably gonna TIG it up, then we'll straighten it up after we get that done. Try to get it pretty straight, but getting all this stuff out just to get this, and as thin as this shaft is, as small as it is, it's not much more than 3/8 in diameter. It's not that big where it welds up. So we can, I can put it in the lathe and get her down pretty doggone close, a lot easier than I can try to set all that other stuff up. So, but that's what we're gonna work on next. So, but all right, well, let me get the old girl out of here and let's get this shop floor cleaned up. And I'm so tickled to death about that right there. But I do want to tell you this. The problem I had, all of this where it actually bent or warped at, trying to get that thing to prise around. As you remember, I made that new piece at the back. I hope you can see that down in there. That's where the head of the Allen bolt screw, whatever you want to call it, that's where that head went. Well, you saw me file that out the other day. Well, that's what had happened. It had mashed that down and pooched it out around that bolt, and you couldn't adjust it. So I kept checking. Well, it was loose, and I couldn't figure out why it wouldn't move. But anyway, that was the culprit of that. So I hope we got that problem took care of. We won't have to worry about that no more either. I believe we got our old truck all fixed up. She's sitting over there. I moved out my little truck and I rode it last night. Went to the fire department and all of that and done a little riding around. Don't have any oil leaks. Got to thinking though, I kept thinking I had a rear main seal leaking. If that front timing cover seal was leaking bad enough, all that fans and all of that blowing down through there, blow that oil to the back, I might not have had a problem with that rear main seal, but that might have been where most of the oil from the front timing cover seal was going, so I hope so. But anyway, right now, we ain't got no leaks. That's what we're gonna hold on to. I'm gonna quit looking here in a minute too, in case it does. We're gonna move along. We got this shaft we're gonna do. Got to get the only dimension that I really got. I don't know if you can tell or not, that the last fella that did that, he ground that down. You can see grind marks and all that on it. I hope you can see down in there. See that lip? Now that's I don't know how he got that lip on there, but it ain't gonna have that on there when we get done with it. So I mean, that's just weld where he gapped it and welded it together. But anyway, we figured to fix all that. We've got that faced off. I'm probably gonna take just a little bit more of that. That center, that hole, that some kind of hole they got in there. Yeah, I can get it where you can see it in a minute. I hope. See, there's a hole there in the middle of that. There's not in the middle of that. Yeah, it was off a little bit, but I believe we can get her done now. I'm gonna go ahead and drill us a hole in there that I can take probably a piece of 1/8 stainless TIG wire and stick in and use it for a dowel pin. Didn't cut it on when I was drilling. All right, we got our bevel on there. You see we got our bevel, we got our little hole in the end for our dowel pin to go. I'm gonna cut and make sure I can get us a dowel pin in there pretty firm. And then we'll work on that end of it. That's pretty straight right there. So that's what I want to check and make sure. Went on, cut me a piece of TIG wire, drove it down in there. So now we're gonna get this piece, we're gonna do the same thing with it. Drill a hole in it, drive it down on there, and then we're gonna weld her together and straighten her up when we get done with that. All right, here we go. I really need to turn that point on that cutter a little bit. See how this cutter works on this. Yeah, there we go. All right, let me get her center hole drilled in there. All right, I didn't want to take off much more of them gears right there. I'm gonna leave them all of the gear spline on there that I can. So we're finna get her. See if we can get our other piece on there, and I guess get back in and get ready to set up and weld her on. All right, I got me a little piece of tungsten. There's a little piece of 332. I got it ground down. Ain't got my, believe that I ain't got my light with me. But I hope you can tell the grind marks are going with it. Put it in a drill, lay it on the grinding wheel this way, where it's going this way on it. The reason being, I explain it this way. Electricity does not run through this. It runs around it, just like a wire. That's why the bigger the wire, the more electricity it'll carry, because it's a larger circumference. So when you grind it and it all runs off the end, then the electrons and all will flow smoother off the end of it and won't be hitting little marks and stuff on there and jumping around. That's the reason when you strip wire, and what we do, it really don't matter. You've seen people roll it so it'll have that nice clean edge. If you on a heavy gauge wire, it's got a lot of electricity going through it, you scratch that wire going this way, then the electrons got to jump over it. And after a while, it'll make it burn itself out right there in that gap. That's why you always strip wire off the end. Same thing, reason you do it this way here. My opinion. Y'all can do it like you want to. Got that done and went on, stuck it on the lathe while it was still hot, and put my burnishing tool up against it, got it straight, dipped it in there. You can get where you can see it there. I dipped it in a little oil there to make sure that end right there didn't get just too doggone out of temper. So all we got left to do now, I'm gonna let that thing cool off a little bit. We'll turn that down there in that middle. Hope you can see that. We'll let her cool down a little bit. We'll turn that down right there. All righty, sports fan. That's got her. Done with it. That's where it ground it down before. I don't want to thin it out too much, but I may throw a little emery cloth on there and polish that color back out of it, but that's gonna wrap that job up. Move on to something else. Got my buddy Danny got a PTO shaft tore up, messed up, so we're fixing to replace it next. These old 3-sided pieces right here, you can beat on them and bang on them, do whatever you want to, but I can promise you, the easiest way to get them out there, take that blue tip wrench and get them out. Seeing how I didn't cut it back on for the other. We'll drive this pin out. And we'll take it right here and we'll cut this piece out. All right, we got the parts back. Gonna take a little wind rock right here and kind of clean some of this stuff up. All right. Get those and we'll get that cleaned up, and then we'll cut her pieces length and get ready to drive them in there. Probably gonna have to polish them up a little bit, cause they get pretty snug trying to drive them in. Well, I was editing video, so noticed it on the PTO shaft. I didn't record any of the rest of it. Duh. So anyway, this is what I'm talking about. When you get these drive shaft or PTO shafts that's made like this, you got to take that thing and grind that and buff that down back to about in there pretty good little bit to get them things where you can drive them in and out. Make sure you grind your bevel and all on there. Then after you get them drove in, go ahead and just line it up and drill a hole through your other piece on each side. Don't try to drill from one side to the other. Just drill each side to drive your roll pin back in. Sorry about that, but that just, y'all know how I am. I get busy working and I get my mind on what I'm doing more than I do videoing. So that's one of them things I'm trying to get better at. So I kind of planned this morning to do a little bit of welding. I was gonna try to brush up on my butt welds and stuff, but had a fella come by. Y'all might have seen the episode where I welded some fish plates on a hay trailer for a fella. Well, he ended up the wings on the back of his hay bine. They kind of, you can set them to bunch of wind row up or just leave it kind of laid out gonna dry faster. But anyway, one of his wings had done broke on there, so he brought it here and wanted to know could I do something with it. And, we can do something. This is not really that hard to fix. I'll have to take a wire brush, we'll clean that up, and I'll show you how to get all that there flattened back out and tacked back together. Then we'll have to see what we, all right, that piece there just down in. Do a little heating and a beating, and we'll see if we can't get this thing put back in the correct order that she's supposed to be in, get her welded up. All right, I don't have a whole lot of C25, so I'm gonna try to make this quick as possible. The easiest way to do something flat, to get it flattened back out, just take anything that's flat on one side, or straight rather, tack that thing right there. And all you gotta do is pull that thing down and she'll line up. Push it and it'll break off. Alrighty. That pretty well got her all tacked down pretty tight. Pretty close. So we're gonna reset the machine, get everything set up and do a little bit of welding. As long as the gas holds out. All right, you can see there kind of how that, I just welded it from that other side, but it kind of pushed through. So what I'm gonna end up doing, I'm gonna come back with a 332 6010 and just weld over that right there. blend all that down on this back side to get it to tie in to work, because I ain't grinding all that down. I dang sure ain't leaving it looking like that. All right, we got that welded up. Look good, didn't it? No, that's why you ain't getting no more look at it. Now, I'll show you. That thing, all that had burned through from the other side. All I want to do is kind of try to blend that down. If you notice, it kept sticking. That's just a 60-10. I was just washing over it. Try to wash it down and get it to blend back in there. That right there don't look too bad. They're right there next to that weld. But as I was welding in between them, it was sagging down. So I was just kind of wipe over that to blend all of that in. Get all the push through from the other side, because it would push through a good little bit. But anyway, that 60-10, get in there, get her cleaned up, and have her kind of solided it up from both sides anyhow. So I'm gonna brush her down a little bit more, and if I got some kind of red paint, I may smear a little bit of it on there for him. All right, I didn't have any red paint, but you can see that. I mean, it ain't perfect. This thing ain't perfect to start with. But I just tried to, you can tell a while ago when I had that thing turned up a little bit, that sun gun kept burning through. I don't know how thick that sun gun is. This, or probably a 16 gauge, so that's pretty thin. So anyway, with 11 gauge being 1/8 inch, and the higher the number, the thinner the material. So, but anyway, we got him all fixed up, got him touched up. I think that's about gonna wrap up that. Well, all right, there, sports fans, we're gonna keep on doing a little practicing, trying to, so we can, like I said, don't look like Willie Lump Love showing up out there. So I hope y'all enjoyed this week's episode. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe. So we'll see what we can get into next week. Y'all be careful, stay safe, go to church on Sunday. See you next time.